The following program is paid for by Absolute Mortgage, a division of Pinnacle Capital Mortgage Corporation. Absolute Mortgage Company, NMLS number 81395 and Washington CL number 81395 is an equal opportunity housing lender. Tina Mitchell, MLO number 145420, is a licensed loan originator with Absolute Mortgage. Visit AbsoluteLoans.com or call 888-90-HOMES for cost information. You're listening to The Money Hour with your host, Tina Mitchell. Sponsored by Absolute Mortgage, a division of Pinnacle Capital Mortgage Corporation. Now, in the studio, local mortgage and finance expert, Tina Mitchell.
Well, welcome to the Money Hour at 11:50 a.m. KKNW, the Saturday, October 11th show. I'm your host and mortgage expert, Tina Mitchell. Thank you for taking time to talk money. I am committed to providing you the knowledge needed to be successful in every area regarding your financing. Knowledge is power, and that's what you'll receive from listening to my show. And if you're hearing my show at a different time or day, you're listening to a rebroadcast, but I'm here to answer any questions or connect with you or to connect with any of the guests that I have in studio. Please call into the show at 1-855-400-1150. Again, that's 1-855-400-1150 or online at themoneyhour.com. And introduction for studio today, we actually have a realtor panel. And those of you that are regular listeners to this show know that I love it when I have a studio packed full of real estate experts. And so it's going to be a really great show today, just having a panel conversation around our local real estate market and some things that are happening, of course, with industry leaders. I have Mary Lee with Windermere Bellevue Commons, Sandi Tampa with Windermere Bellevue Commons, Erik Tinglum with Trident Realty Group Northwest, Keller Williams, and Jeff Dickinson with RE/MAX on the Lake. Again, all industry experts, and it just will be a really, really great conversation in the real estate market. Let's go ahead and start out the show, as always, with a little money chat. Talk a little bit about credit tips and things to increase your credit score. Credit does matter. It matters a lot when it comes to anything regarding money. And again, that's what the name of the show is the Money Hour. So I like to bring in anything that affects your money. And credit score is a big one. Your FICO score determines the interest rates that you're going to pay on credit cards, car loans, obviously in my arena, mortgage, the cost of car insurance. And I think what a lot of people, some people may not realize is it's actually looked at for your employer. So in some cases, it may be a determination on whether you're going to get a job or not. Your FICO score provides the best guide to future risk based solely on your credit data. Now, credit scores will vary from 300 to 850. Your FICO score is the middle score from the three bureaus. So you have Equifax, TransUnion, and Experian. 760, the brackets right now, 760 or higher is considered an excellent credit bracket. If you're 660 or below, that is now considered poor credit. And I say now because there's been some increases in those brackets from what it used to be. It used to be under 620 was considered poor, and then they increased that up to 660. Now, just so you know the credit components, past delinquents obviously is going to affect your credit score. It actually is 35% of the actual credit score. Debt to credit utilization ratio, that's 30%. So basically that's the amount that you actually owe on your credit card versus what's available to you. And I'll talk to you about that in a second. And the age of credit is 15%. So you want to make sure, and this is where a lot of people don't know this, you may have somebody telling you to close out credit cards that you're not using. It's the worst thing that you can do because not only would it have possible devastating impact to your credit score, but you can actually never fix this. And so what you do not ever want to do is close out accounts that are older than 2 years because 15% is based on age of credit. So you can't re-age credit once you've actually closed those accounts out. Mix of credit is 10%. That's the mix based on installment versus revolving debt. And then inquiries. Inquiries are when you're having your credit report pulled. Now, you can actually, most people don't know this, you can actually have 7 inquiries a year before it starts to have a big impact on your credit. Also, depending on the credit bureau, is going to be based on the time frame of having your credit repulled, a duplicate, meaning if you're shopping for a mortgage and you have your credit report pulled by one mortgage company and then you're going to meet with another mortgage consultant to get an idea of how you're connecting with them and they pull your credit, you can actually do that multiple times, duplicate inquiries. Depending on the bureau, it's going to be 14 to 45 days. So I would go with 14 days to be on the safe side, and you can have that pulled 3 times. So here's some things that you may not know that you can do that actually can have some pretty substantial impact on your credit. Pay tax liens can be removed. So paid, released, or satisfied federal tax liens can be deleted from your credit report and all other public records within 30 days. Now, usually you don't see this, and so these tips are things that you can do and request it from the individual bureaus, and then they'll need to do that for you. Some unpaid tax liens can be deleted. Federal tax liens can also be deleted if they have balances of less than $25,000 with on-time payments to the IRS. So even though you're making those payments to the IRS, you can have that deleted from your credit report. Add authorized users to increase your scores. So if you don't have enough established credit, or you don't have that history that I talked to you about where you've got a credit that's going back far enough, adding an authorized user can increase your credit score in as little as 3 weeks, and it doesn't cost anything. There's no fees, there's no credit checks, and here's the best thing, they won't decline you. There's no denial on it. You're just being added as an authorized user to another account. So if you have parents or maybe even grandparents that have old accounts that have been open for a long time, it's a really easy way to very, very quickly increase your credit scores. Add secure credit cards. So if you don't have options to be added to an authorized user, add secure cards. Lenders like to see 3 to 5 trade lines, a minimum 3 to 5 trade lines. So that means that 3 different types of credit cards. So if you only have one, then you need to build up those credit lines or credit trade lines. Adding secure cards can help improve your credit profile, and this needs to be structured a certain way. So you want to make sure you check with me before doing that, but it's extremely effective within a couple months. And you can go to OpenSkyCC.com. That's OpenSkyCC.com, and they've got a great program for secured credit cards. Keep balances below 30% on available credit. So this is something that's one of the really quickest ways to increase credit scores. When I have a client that comes in and mortgage interest rates are based on a credit score, so if you have a 720 credit score versus a 760, you're going to see a 0.25% different in interest rate, which is going to make a difference of, $30-50 a month, depending on the amount that you're borrowing. So if you use your credit card, an example, you use your credit card on a monthly basis just to pay off your bills, and let's say you have a limit of $5,000 and you've paid off all your bills with that and you're going to just pay it off. Like for me, I use my credit cards for everything because I want to get free money from the bank, and then I pay it off before I have to pay any interest on it. So I want to get the miles, all that cool stuff that we have for using our credit card. But you don't know when your credit report is actually going to be pulled and how long a period of time it's going to be before it's reported that new balance, because usually they're going to be maybe 30 days behind. So you want to get a rapid rescore through your lender and get that paid off so that you can get that ratio down, because if you're at 100% ratio and the credit bureaus want you to be at maximum 30% ratio, that can have a pretty devastating effect on your credit score. So that's an easy fix. Now, let's say that you don't have the money to pay things down. You just have a lot of the credit that you've been using. What you need to do is open new credit to get some limits that can add to that ratio, because it's the ratio for all of your revolving accounts. It's not just per revolving account individually, but it's all combined together. Or you can increase limits on your credit cards to get to that, to make sure that you're not going over that 30% ratio. Again, it's what the amount that you currently owe versus the amount that's available to you. Consolidate student loans. This is a big one. So if you have student loans and they're in default, they can be consolidated and transferred to the U.S. Department of Education. And this will have a huge impact on your credit scores, because once they've been consolidated and moved over, then you're not going to see the impact from that delinquent activity. Put burden of proof back on the creditor. So collections and charge-offs are deleted at a roughly 70%. That's what statistics show, that 70% of collections are in a position to be able to get deleted off your credit report. They generally don't have the documentation to support the account to properly have it listed on your credit report. So with requesting that, or I shouldn't say requesting, with demanding for them to provide that documentation, and they are not able to provide that documentation, they have to remove that off of your credit report. Fix inaccurate and additional personal information. Just check on that. It's not a big one, but a lot of times you're going to have incorrect names and things that are on your credit report, and you just don't know what those are attached to. So you want to make sure that you're keeping that up to date. And there's some credit tips for you during during the Money Chat. Coming up next on the Money Hour, the show today, again, is all about real estate, about our local real estate with local experts right here in our area. Mary Lee with Windermere Bellevue Commons, Sandi Tampa with Windermere Bellevue Commons, Erik Tinglum with Trident Realty Group Northwest, Keller Williams, and Jeff Dickinson with RE/MAX on the Lake right here on 1150 AM KKNW after the short break.
Mortgage fraud has been rampant since 2007. Many folks don't know they have legal rights. Find out if your mortgage loan has wrongdoings and fraud. Magnum Law Group will do a free audit of your loan documents. Facing foreclosure? Need to stop a foreclosure sale? Magnum Law Group can help. We have experts with valuable knowledge, and we get results. Have you decided to short sale your property instead of a foreclosure? Magnum Law Group has the experience to negotiate better and faster for you.
Hi, this is Deborah with Magnum Law Group. Please contact us at 425-454-4300. You can visit our website at www.magnumlawgroup.com or call us at 425-454-4300.
This is the Money Hour with your host, Tina Mitchell, on Alternative Talk, AM 1150. Now, back to the show with local mortgage and finance expert, Tina Mitchell.
Welcome back to the Money Hour with your host and mortgage expert, Tina Mitchell, right here on 1150 AM KKNW, the Saturday, October 11th show. I provide you news on everything money, fresh information on market trends and conditions in our local economy. If you're hearing my show at a different time or day, you're listening to a rebroadcast, but you can always call into the show at 1-855-400-1150. Again, that's 1-855-400-1150 or online at themoneyhour.com. And I have a studio packed of industry leaders in the real estate community. And today's show is all around real estate, and it's around a panel conversation. Normally, I just do one-on-one interviews, but today it's just going to be a conversation around what's happening in our industry. And to introduce the lineup today, I have Mary Lee with Windermere Bellevue Commons. Mary has been licensed agent since 1987 and is former vice president and director of the education for Windermere Real Estate, the Northwest's largest real estate company. She is highly accomplished real estate broker and is in the top 1% of agents in the Seattle and East Side markets. Mary is committed to creating exceptional results for every client through her proven strategies in house preparation, proper pricing, innovative promoting, and expert negotiation skills. Mary is creating a new standard of real estate skills and expertise with her certified results agent designation, which showcases agents and get their clients top results in the marketplace. Mary is a master certified negotiation expert, one of only 200 in the nation with advanced designation, as well as senior real estate specialist, accredited seller representative, and luxury and view home specialist. Mary, you're a regular contributor to the show, and I just thank you so much for coming back in and hanging out with me today.
You're welcome. It's great to be here.
And next guest in the panel today is Sandi Tampa, Windermere Bellevue Commons. This is Sandi's first visit in studio. Thank you, Sandi, for joining us.
Happy to be here. Thanks so much for having me.
And Sandi is a skilled veteran with 10 years of residential real estate experience. She is based out of Bellevue and primary focuses on the East Side. Sandi is highly accredited manager broker. Her credentials include accredited buyer's representative, certified residential specialist, and master certified negotiation expert. What does that all mean? It means that she is dedicated to being the best she can to serve and for her clients and her referrals with the highest level of professionalism and skill as possible. Sandi specializes in applying her local experience and the market knowledge to her business, experience negotiation, and cutting-edge marketing strategies combined with uncompromising integrity is her trademark in Sandi's service. So Sandi, thank you again. Excited to have you here. And next on my panel, another regular contributor to the show, Erik Tinglum. And Erik is with Trident Realty Group Northwest, Keller Williams. Erik has 30 years plus in the real estate industry, first with corporate relocations and the last 10 years in residential real estate and private investing. Erik is in the top 8% in overall production in Tacoma and Pierce County for the past 5 years running. He's received a 5-star real estate award from Seattle Magazine, as in the top 7% regionally for customer satisfaction as reported by surveys, surveys by your clients. Erik, thank you again for coming in. It's always a pleasure to have you.
Thank you for having me, and I'm glad to be here.
And you're going to notice we have 2 women and 2 guys. My last guest on panel and another regular contributor is Jeff Dickinson. And Jeff is with RE/MAX on the Lake. Over the years, Jeff has been involved in the development of apartments, office buildings, residential condominiums, and self-storage facilities. His real estate practice includes extensive buyer and seller representation of residential properties throughout the Puget Sound region. Jeff is also founder and director of RE/MAX Home Advantage program, one of the most successful real estate teams. The primary focus is on corporate employee representation with over 90 corporate clients, including Boeing, UW, King County, Seattle, and Harborview Medical Center. You have to be in the best of the best to get corporations like this. So, Jeff, thanks for coming back in studio. Happy to have you here as well.
Glad to be here.
After all those amazing buyers, we can go ahead and get into some real estate questions here. So let's go ahead and start out with what's happening in the real estate market. What's going on, you guys?
Well, what I'm seeing is uncertain buyers. So what I'm experiencing is, and my focus is primarily on the east side, is about a year ago we had 1 in 4 or 5 transactions come back on the market after being pending. And now I'm seeing approximately 1 in 3 or 4.
So lots more activity or lack of.
Just buyers getting cold feet and backing out, whether it's winner's curse or media scaring them, family members.
Mary, what about you? What are you seeing?
Boy, we're not seeing any failed transactions. We have some specific tools and strategies we utilize for our sellers to make sure that there are no contingencies or ways for a buyer to get out of a transaction without losing their earnest money. But, in the markets that I work in, we're still seeing good, strong buyer confidence in the market and the value of the properties that they're purchasing.
Guys, what do you got going on, Jeff?
Yeah, well, I'm seeing a little bit more of a balanced market where buyers are having a little bit more rights. Inventory's gone up a little bit, so I'm happy to see that. And with Sandi's comments, we're seeing some tough inventory with respect to inspections maybe failing, and just the quality of the inventory can be a little suspect sometimes. But
yeah, definitely. And Erik, what about you? What are you seeing happening?
Well, of course, I represent the South End.
A little bit different, so that's nice to disclose that, because it's a totally different market than with the other 3 agents we have in studio.
Absolutely. Candidly, as the Seattle market improves and prices go up, we find folks coming south to find homes that are a little bit more moderately priced. They're actually forced out of the market. But in the past year, we've seen prices, the last quarter, prices start to moderate. We've seen our short sale inventory down considerably, as well as our REOs. At one point in time, they represented 50% of our total inventory. Which
was a lot more in your area than in the Bellevue, Seattle area.
Considerably more. So now, it's down to around 15%. But I do want to say, again, we are seeing, I think, a lot of hesitation, especially on our what we call our bump-up buyers. And they're kind of sitting on their hands. And I do think it's, the perception of the economy, the state of the nation, et cetera, et cetera. I think there's a little hesitation there.
Yeah, so with that hesitation, what are you telling your clients right now? I mean, with the hesitation, if you're seeing into that with your buyers or sellers, what are you saying? Mary, what are you telling your sellers and buyers right now that are a little hesitant maybe to, especially on the buyer side?
Well, we often, when we do our initial consultation with buyers, we want to find out what their long-term plans and goals are for that home purchase. And if they're going to be there 2 to 3 years, they're going to make a different purchase decision than if they're going to be there 7 to 10 years or longer.
Makes total sense.
And if they're in a job scenario where they might get transferred out, where they buy and how much they invest in the market definitely is a big consideration for those folks. And it also depends on whether their family needs are going to be changing and they're going to be, wanting a larger home or a different home later on.
Okay. So what about some indicators of things that we can look at? Because I know, with employment, we've got an amazing employment market here with Boeing and Microsoft and a little bit of everything happening in our market. You being a corporate expert working with a lot of employers, Jeff, what are you seeing the benefit here in our Seattle market because of our employment?
Well, I think the cool thing is that we're now the number 1 place to move to in the country. We were number 4 for a long time, and so a lot of people coming in, and it's just a great place to live and good real estate integrity, and a lot of people make a lot of money in this market. So
yes, definitely. Yep. Eric?
Well, I don't want to sound like a naysayer, but Pierce County seems to be the brunt of the success here in Seattle. We lost the Frank Russell Company. They moved north. There was just recently the announcement that Weyerhaeuser was moving from Federal Way, moving north. And with our largest employer, JBLM, Joint Base Lewis McChord, we see sequestration starting to take effect. The reality is our largest source of income in the South is retired military.
Yes.
So people find that rather odd to hear that particular statistic, but a lot of people find the Northwest is a great place to retire. Yeah,
no, I've been surprised to hear that.
Well,
I thought it was like Florida and
well, I'm sure
Arizona.
I wouldn't know what the percentages are there, but there's a great support network for retired military. I'm actually a retired Air Force, so I see those people on a regular basis, and they enjoy the facilities, and the facilities are getting a lot of attention. Nationally, a lot of awards, and it's a very large part of our economy, both locally in Pierce County as well as the region.
Got it. So any other indicators as far as what's happening with our cash buyers, our foreign national buyers, things that we can actually look at to give an indicator of what the real estate market is doing? Sandy?
So regarding cash buyers, one of the questions you had for us is what are we seeing out there? And I did represent a buyer this week in a multiple offer where we did lose to cash. So it seems like cash is out there a lot. But when I ran the stats, our cash buyers are really only 15% of the sold sales.
Really?
On the
that
east.
Is surprising to hear.
So that's single family east side.
Okay.
Last 90 days.
Wow.
Sold on MLS.
So that's actually kind of good news because I just hear all the time these multiple offers that have these cash buyers. Mary, what are you experiencing on? Because again, you're on the east side as well with cash buyers, with your buyers, and you represent a lot of sellers as well. And in some of the prime areas that you represent, there's a lot of cash buyers. Isn't there?
You're right. We live in Somerset and do a lot of business in that community, and every market is really a micro market of the larger market. And in Somerset, we have a very strong buyer demographic of Asians moving into the area because of the strong school system, and that's really keeping our market very strong and very desirable.
Yeah.
And a lot of those buyers are cash. We've seen more cash buyers in the last 12 months than we've ever seen, and in our market, it's more like 30%.
Yeah.
And it is challenging for regular buyers to have, 20% down. They're really kind of priced out of the market sometimes when they're competing against these cash buyers. So I know you've got some questions where we can talk about strategies for those buyers.
Yeah, so let's go right into that, Mary, and I'll, if you want to go ahead and start out. So with all this competitive market, the lack of inventory, cash buyers that are coming in, what are some strategies? Give me one that you use with your clients.
Definitely having a strong pre-approval letter like you do, having the lender call the listing agent, I think is critical. I'm finding that sellers really want to know who that buyer is that's going to be purchasing their home. Okay. And a good listing agent, especially in a multiple offer situation, will be checking with those buyer's agents. Is this an investor? Are they planning on renting the home? Is this a family who's planning on living in the home? And that does make a difference to sellers if all the other terms are similar. So sometimes the cash buyer's not winning. If the buyer is an investor versus somebody who will be occupying the home.
And so why do you, Jeff, you're shaking your head yes on that. So when you've got a seller and you've got an investor and they're coming in and paying cash for the home, why is that not going to be as appealing offer as a buyer that comes in with financing? And how are you setting your buyer up to be a stronger offer compared to that?
Well, I think one of the biggest things I've found is just having the buyers put a heartfelt letter together and just go human on the seller. And oftentimes that will win out over an investor because they want someone to take care of the rose garden, or they want to be able to transfer that home to someone that is going to take care of it and live in it. So,
Eric, what strategies are you using in your market over in the South area, South End?
I tell my folks just pretty much what Mary had said. You need to have your ducks in a row before you go in, and the stronger your pre-approval, the stronger your buyer. And that's why I like working with a lender like yourself who does all the work up front. so that I can assure the listing agent that my person is all but underwritten in totality, and there aren't going to be the hiccups that you oftentimes find with other lenders.
Makes total sense. We need to take up to commercial, but no worries, because we're going to be right back here with my panel of real estate experts to talk about the real estate market, how to navigate through it. And it's just a really exciting time in studio to have the panel. Coming up next on the Money Hour, we've got Mary Lee with Windermere Bellevue Commons, Sandi Tampa with Windermere Bellevue Commons, Erik Tinglum with Trident Realty Group Northwest, Keller Williams, and Jeff Dickinson with RE/MAX on the Lake right here on 1150 AM KKNW after the short break.
Mortgage fraud has been rampant since 2007. Many folks don't know they have legal rights. Find out if your mortgage loan has wrongdoings and fraud. Magnum Law Group will do a free audit of your loan documents. Facing foreclosure? Need to stop a foreclosure sale? Magnum Law Group can help. We have experts with valuable knowledge, and we get results. Have you decided to short sale your property instead of a foreclosure? Magnum Law Group has the experience to negotiate better and faster for you.
Hi, this is Deborah with Magnum Law Group. Please contact us at 425-454-4300. You can visit our website at www.magnumlawgroup.com or call us at 425-454-4300.
Today we're talking with Mary Lee, who is the creator of the Ultimate Home Selling Success System, a new way to sell your home without the typical pitfalls and roadblocks which cause sellers to lose sales and profits. Mary's unique system creates a seller's market on every listing, giving the seller the best buyer and the best price in the market with no home inspection contingency. Mary hasn't sold a home with an inspection contingency since 2005. Her proven business model is changing how real estate is done, not only in the Puget Sound area, but across the country. There is a better way to sell your home in today's market, one that results in higher profits, a quicker sale, and a smooth, successful home selling experience.
Hi, this is Mary. To learn more about our Ultimate Home Selling Success System, call us at 425-941-4229 or go to www.secretstoSellingYourHome.com, where you will find free consumer videos on how to prepare your home for the market, top tips for proper pricing, how to hire an expert agent, sell your home without a home inspection contingency, and get a customized market snapshot of home values in your area. This is the place where savvy home sellers are going to get expert advice on creating an exceptional home selling experience.
This is the Money Hour with your host, Tina Mitchell, on Alternative Talk, AM 1150. Now, back to the show with local mortgage and finance expert, Tina Mitchell.
Welcome back to the Money Hour with your host and mortgage expert, Tina Mitchell, right here on 1150 AM KKNW, the Saturday, October 11th show, bringing in expert advice and inside knowledge on today's events and our local economy and how it can affect your money. If you're hearing my show at a different time or day, you're listening to a rebroadcast, to talk with any of the guests that I have in studio, please pick up the phone, call in the show at 1-855-400-1150. Again, that's 1-855-400-1150 or online at themoneyhour.com. Continued conversation on about real estate with my real estate panel. Mary Lee with Windermere Bellevue Commons, Sandi Tampa with Windermere Bellevue Commons, Erik Tinglum with Trident Realty Group Northwest, Keller Williams, and Jeff Dickinson with RE/MAX on the Lake. So let's go ahead and start out with the market and what's happening. I know you're hearing a lot of, and you mentioned it a little bit on the first segment, Erik, about some consumers a little concerned about what's happening in the market, what's coming up in the future, just because of uncertainty, which you always have that, whether we're in a hot market or a slow market. If we're in a hot market, consumers are thinking, when is the market going to drop? And when you're in a slow market, they're thinking, wow, the market's slow, I need to wait. What's happening right now? Where do you think the market's going to go?
Well, that's really tough to say, but there are some things that...
Or is it slowing down right now, I should ask?
Well, again, I would probably defer to the rest of my panel, and I would say that Mary stated very accurately that each market has its own individual nuances. So in the South End, well, let me back up. All the things that have ever prompted anyone to buy a home over the past however many years are still in place. Marriage, divorce, jobs, kids, downsizing, right-sizing, retiring, etc. So those pressures continue. So the fact that we've had a very modest growth in sales, there's a lot of pent-up demand.
Yes.
What we saw with Warren Buffett coming out and making his statement that if he had a nickel, he invested in real estate, Well, that's where the big dollars really took note, and they jumped all over it. I mean, we have all kinds of hedge funds that just bought up tons of inventory, especially in the South. What I find amazing is that with the incredible interest rates that are out there right now, that we don't have more demand, because obviously we know that there is going to be the inevitable. I mean, Zellner's, the Fed chair, has said, that's going to happen, and probably sooner as opposed to later. So I really can't say, but this next, the first 2 quarters of next year are going to be very interesting.
Okay. All right. So what about advice for sellers in preparation to sell their home? Mary, I know that you actually teach real estate agents and for certification on exactly how to best represent sellers so that they can actually, or the best thing to do for sellers to be able to maximize their profit. What are you doing? How are you so successful in this area?
As you know, I'm passionate about pre-inspections. I think it's crazy for realtors and sellers to put a home on the market without understanding the condition of the home. At the end of the day, value relates to condition. So a seller can either know the condition of their home up front or after the buyer gets them under contract. And later is not better. It really shifts all the negotiation advantage and power to the buyer, which is not what you want as a seller when you're putting your home on the market. So as you've heard on previous broadcasts, we've been having our sellers pre-inspect their homes for almost a decade now. It's over 9 years. And as a result of that, we have not sold a listing with a home inspection contingency during that time. So what that really allows us to do is eliminate problems that come with buyer's inspection contingencies, including renegotiation on price and condition, or worst case scenario, the buyer walks and changes their mind. As Sandi referenced, some of these buyers are getting under contract and just changing their mind. And if they're doing that during the normal inspection contingency process, they do get their earnest money back, and the seller's just kind of stuck with a failed sale, which includes that problematic status change that the MLS requires us to do, going from active to pending inspection. So we've really reverse engineered the home sale process with our ultimate home selling success system, and it's just a great way to sell and really reduces a lot of stress that sellers typically have. And buyers as well. Buyers really appreciate having that inspection report before they get under contract. Yeah,
and even the buyer's not going to use that inspection report. They're going to get their own inspector. The seller, the point being is the seller knows exactly what's wrong with the house because the buyer's going to find it out. You'd rather them find it out at the beginning rather than find it out in the middle when you've got a signed contract and you've got to get the property back on the on the market. Anybody else have any tips as far as selling that the sellers that they're using to represent their sellers?
A couple things come to mind real quick. One is to go on from what Mary was saying. As part of that pre-inspection, I know I've had a number of challenges this summer with sewer inspections, the sewer scoping. So here's where the seller was offering an opportunity to have it done, but they're saying, oh, it's great, and they come up with a $30,000 surprise. So it's kind of upsetting from that standpoint. So the second part is home staging, and not only exterior, beautifying the exterior of the home and making it appealing for buyers to go to. Second would be the interior.
So just making sure, that home is in good condition, and when people are coming in, they're getting that good, warm and fuzzy feeling about it. And I think a lot of sellers don't think about that enough. It may not make a huge impact or a huge amount of cost, but it has a huge impact when people get in and they get that feeling that they want to live in that home.
Absolutely.
Erik?
Inevitably, there isn't a seller in the world that doesn't want to maximize their return.
Of course.
That's just a reality. And so you have to bring a dose of reality to that proposition. The first thing that I say is you never get a second chance at a first impression.
Yes.
So what are we going to do to maximize that return? And I do appreciate Mary's comment, because now almost all the time will we go ahead and see if there are any deferred maintenance issues and start to address those just immediately.
It makes total sense. And when you have so much success in selling so many homes and always having that pre-inspection, it's got to say something. Yeah. Sandi?
And along the lines that so if you do find something like a roof needs to be replaced, I think the best thing you can do is go ahead and proactively replace that roof rather than have the price reflected or offering a credit, because inevitably the buyer is going to want that price and or that credit and then come back and want either the roof or an additional credit for the roof.
Yeah, and it's a good point, too, because when you're going through the renegotiation versus negotiating a contract, in the renegotiation, it's going to cost the seller more money to go through that in the middle of the contract versus negotiating it up front when there's a multiple offer scenario going on.
Well,
so,
and of course, you're controlling the process.
Exactly.
So, you're making your choices, your picks. It's hard to come back on that. And, when you control the vendors yourself,
Yeah, makes total sense. So let's talk a little bit about single-family homes versus condos. And what's the difference in that market? Sandi, what are you seeing?
So with the single-family homes, one of the questions was about the rate of return on investment. So a single-family home will consistently outperform a condo in its appreciation.
Okay.
But, there's absolutely condo buyers out there who want that ease of maintenance, only owning from the drywall in and not having to worry about grounds and roof and exterior paint and the like.
So if you're talking with your clients and they're asking which is a better investment, you're going to see that a single family home statistically is going to have a higher return than your condos.
Exactly.
Yes. Any other thoughts on single family homes versus condos, Mary?
Most of our clients that are choosing condos, it's a lifestyle decision, not as much investment. They're typically empty nesters. They're selling their big home, and they want to get into something that is secure if they're traveling a bit. They either are at or near retirement, and they really like the walkability factor that condos have.
Yeah.
Where they can walk to groceries and the restaurants, and it's a different vibe, a different lifestyle component that is very attractive to a certain segment of the market.
Makes total sense. So if you're listening to the show and just tuning in, we're having our real estate panel here, and I have all experts in studio just at the top of their game in the real estate arena. And if you're thinking of buying or selling your home, you definitely want to pick up the phone and give the show a call at 1-855-400-1150. Again, that's 1-855-400-1150. Or you can go online to themoneyhour.com and I can connect you with any of the guests I have in studio. So let's say that we have somebody that's thinking about purchasing a home right now that's listening to the show. And they're asking, what would be the first step that I need to take?
Well, we feel it's really helpful to get engaged with your realtor early on. Okay. And we meet with our clients at our office in Bellevue. It's a great time for us to get acquainted, find out what they're looking for, what they're not looking for. And it's an opportunity for us to go online in our media room and actually go on the MLS together. That is something that buyers don't have access to. And we have up to 200 selectable search criteria. It's a much more robust search engine than the public sites that buyers have access to. So our buyers really feel like they get a sneak peek behind the curtain of the tools and technologies we use by jumping on the MLS with us. And it's a great opportunity for us to give them kind of a guided tour of the neighborhoods and communities and markets that they're considering.
Makes total sense. So you've talked and met with your agent, got an idea, and gotten hooked up into the best systems out there looking at properties. Sandi, what's next?
Then absolutely financing, connecting with the lender. I counsel my buyers that you live in the payment, not the price. So really figure out that budget. What can you afford monthly? Then that combined with your down payment and strength as a borrower, what price point are we looking at?
Makes total sense. And I like how you mentioned, payment, because in the lending arena, people think that it's hard to get financing, but it's really not. Lenders are lending to high DTIs. I don't know who's listening to the show that would be comfortable buying at a 45% or a 50% debt to income ratio based on their gross monthly income, but most consumers aren't. So it's really finding out where their target objection is and ultimately what that's going to buy them, and then they need to bring those numbers together. So we're going to go ahead and take another quick break here, then we'll come back and to our real estate panel. So coming up next on the Money Hour, we're going to continue to talk about real estate, what's happening in our local real estate market with all the experts that I have in studio right here on 1150 AM at KKNW after the short break.
Mortgage fraud has been rampant since 2007. Many folks don't know they have legal rights. Find out if your mortgage loan has wrongdoings and fraud. Magnum Law Group will do a free audit of your loan documents. Facing foreclosure? Need to stop a foreclosure sale? Magnum Law Group can help. We have experts with valuable knowledge, and we get results. Have you decided to short sale your property instead of a foreclosure? Magnum Law Group has the experience to negotiate better and faster for you.
Hi, this is Deborah with Magnum Law Group. Please contact us at 425-454-4300. You can visit our website at www.magnumlawgroup.com or call us at 425-454-4300.
This is the Money Hour with your host, Tina Mitchell, on Alternative Talk, AM 1150. Now, back to the show with local mortgage and finance expert, Tina Mitchell.
Welcome back to the Money Hour with your host and mortgage expert, Tina Mitchell, right here on 1150 AM KKNW, the Saturday, October 11th show. It's a great day to talk money, and that's why I'm here with you and what the show is all about, how to make money, save money, and build a better quality of life for you and for your family. And coming back is our real estate panel discussion, everything that's happening in our local real estate market here. I have Mary Lee with Windermere Bellevue Commons, Sandi Tampa with Windermere Bellevue Commons, Erik Tinglum with Trident Realty Group Northwest, Keller Williams, and Jeff Dickinson with RE/MAX on the Lake. Let's go ahead and start out with price. Mary, I know that you, again, are work with a lot of sellers and have a lot of expertise in some of these markets that have a lot of competitive offers going on. And when you're representing the seller, it's in, Erik had said earlier in the last segment that even though that we're in a hot market for a seller, everybody wants to maximize how much money that they're going to make. So you can make more even though you've got multiple offers. Are you going to get maximum dollar? What are you talking to your sellers about to do that, to accomplish that?
Well, I feel there really is such a thing as perfect pricing. Mm-hmm. And to me, perfect pricing is one that elicits a strong response from the market. We are a proponent of offer review strategy, which means we list on a Thursday or Friday and we review offers the following Thursday or Friday. And that isn't possible in all markets. Your agent can certainly better determine the market conditions in that particular neighborhood or city. But in my market, the market demand is there where we can do an offer review. And I think sellers' biggest concern about proper pricing is leaving money on the table. Mm-hmm. In an offer review strategy, we're typically getting over 100 potential buyers through the home with our marketing efforts, open houses, and showings in about 4 days. So I cannot look at a seller and say, you've got the best price and the best buyer on day one when we have not had that proper market exposure. So with the business model of doing an offer review and being on the market for 5 to 7, 8 days, a seller really is pretty assured that they've had proper market exposure, and every buyer who has had an interest in seeing the home has had an opportunity to do so and make an offer. And if you have a multiple offer situation, that is where sellers really get the joy and luxury that comes with having their choice of buyers, which includes price and terms. So the right price is one that is going to elicit a strong response from the market, and in our mind, that's more than one offer on that offer review day.
Makes total sense. So any other things that you guys are talking to your sellers about in order to maximize price?
What I see in the market, and Mary works in the Somerset market, which is on fire and continues to be, in outlying areas, what we're finding is buyers are very price sensitive. And you need to nail that pricing. Even looking at the stats, the difference between average sale to list price is 99%. And average sale to original list price was 97%.
Okay.
So sellers have to lower their price to be able to get that offer. We're just not, buyers just aren't coming in thinking they can make a 5% less offer. We've got to hit it just right to get those offers.
Yeah, so price is really, really important. Jeff?
Yep. The only thing I would add to that is price to what I see floor plan functionality. I'm seeing a lot of sellers saying, boy, my neighbor's home is smaller and it's sold for an amazing price. I should be able to get a higher price, but I've got a dysfunctional house. next door. So I'm kind of running into price to floor plan functionality, and from that standpoint.
Eric?
Well, again, being a representative of the South, it's a little bit different.
A little
down
different
there.
Market.
What the reality I have to bring to a lot of my sellers is that the bank is going to determine how much this house is going to sell for based upon appraisal.
Okay.
So there are some people that are very optimistic, and granted, there are some properties have great redeeming factors that can get more, but I always bring the comps, and I said, we're just not going to do that much better, and I just have to tell you the truth. I mean, you can get anybody sitting in front of you to tell you what you want to hear,
of course,
but then there's the reality.
It's got to be priced. It's got to be priced correct for what the value of the home is, but not underpriced as well. And are you having issues, Eric, on the South End with your appraisal values?
I think things are coming around a little bit now, but if you'd have asked me that question toward the middle of the summer, I would have said it's a coin flip.
Yeah, and so I just for me on the lending side, I've had very rare issues that I've had value issues that have came up, but I'm waiting for that to happen, especially with the lack of inventory and not as many comps out there. Let's talk a little bit about using a real estate. Mary, did you have a comment?
Oh, I just wanted to jump in real quick and add that I'm a big proponent of even number pricing.
Me
you
too.
see a lot of homes out there, $699, $950, or $849, $5, or people use 8s because that's good luck in Chinese. You'll see something at $788, $888.
Oh, wow.
So a good strategy is to price on the bridge of a price parameter that a buyer will typically search in. For example, if a seller's priced at $689, it's not a reason to overprice your house, but really at $700, you're going to get double the exposure in the marketplace.
Wow.
You get all the buyers looking $650 to $7 and $7 to $750, and sometimes it's those additional eyes on the house, starting with internet search and certainly people coming to the house, that you can create those additional buyers coming through the property. You're really in two price grids, and it increases your exposure on the market.
Makes total sense. What a great tip. And let's talk about real estate agents, and especially on the selling side. So because it's a seller's market right now, and there's lack of inventory, there's a lot of buyers out there making multiple offers. A seller may be listening to the show thinking, you know what, I can just sell my home on my own, and I don't need to use a real estate professional. What would your answer be to that?
Well, as you know, my business strategy is to create a multiple offer situation when the market allows for that. And certainly we're still fortunate that that's the case in my community where I live and work. I think every agent should bring their report card and their track record to their sellers, and that's really where we start that value conversation. Sellers hire us to solve problems and bring higher value to the table. A seller on their own can't create a multiple offer situation. A seller on their own doesn't have the reach and market exposure that we can create as agents. Cost relates to value. So when there's high value, I rephrase it from a cost really to an investment in professional representation. And to give you an example, our current sales price to list price ratio year to date is 106.37%. So with our business strategies and Ultimate Home Selling Success System, they've gotten the benefit of having professional representation, and we've really covered our fee all year.
Yeah, and that's a really good idea to ask for the number, ask for the stats and what their homes are actually selling for, and then you're going to know if you're getting someone that is pricing and doing a successful job or not. Jeff, what about you?
I just try to relate that there's just hundreds of details that we as agents provide, and probably often neglected by sellers, but just sitting down with them and going human on them and just really showing our value is big, and I think that we more than compensate for
Yes, definitely.
I agree
Erik?
with Jeff 100%. I mean, oftentimes I'll tell both buyers and sellers the easy part is getting under contract.
Yes.
Even in a multiple offer situation, because then the work starts. Mm-hmm. And that's
easy getting under contract, but not necessarily easy getting the best price, though.
Well, easy getting the best price, but I appreciate Mary's comments.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you have to have a strategy going in,
Yes.
and you know, different markets are going to mandate a different strategy. But at the same time, once you are under contract, I mean, that's when you really roll up your sleeve. And
Yeah.
I believe Sandi alluded to the first part of the show, the number of buyers that had fallen out.
Mm-hmm.
I can't believe the number of listing agents that aren't interviewing the lender. And
Well, I can't believe I never get calls from the listing agent. I have to pick up the phone and call the listing agent, and then they're surprised to hear from me on the other end. So it's very surprising.
Well, that's the first thing that I
yep.
tell my seller, that my responsibility is to vet this out
Yes.
and to make sure that, in fact, it's not about getting someone under contract. It's about consummating the sale.
Exactly. Well, you guys are the 1%ers, and that's why you're in studio. And what about questions to ask your real estate agent on the buyer's side, Erik?
Well, I mean, we were talking about this at break, and I think that if your buyer is asking you questions, you haven't properly sat down in that first initial meeting and schooled them and prepared them for what the market looks like.
And so give me an example of what you're telling your buyers and preparing and educating them to where those would not come up.
Well, I do exactly what Mary does. When we get in, we do a mini home search, and we start to filter through the various criteria. So then we take a look at the actual number of homes that are there, and what the price points are, and what potentially their options are, because I don't want for them to waste either their time, my time, or the seller's time. I mean,
Sure.
We're going to go in with our guns loaded, and we're here for one reason, and that's to help you find the home of your dreams. And I think that all that work has to be done up front.
Makes total sense. Sandi?
Same approach, where just educate the buyers. And I actually play a little game with myself, where if my buyer asks me a question along the process, I feel like I failed because I didn't preemptively tell them that. But from a when a buyer is interviewing agents question standpoint, just I would ask what kind of tactics they use, what should they be expecting from the marketplace as far as how competitive is it going to be, and how they can make themselves stronger as a buyer.
It makes total sense. I wish that we had another couple hours to hang out. It's never enough time to get through all the information, especially in the panel conversation. It's just a lot of fun to do this, and I know that you guys are sitting at the end of your chairs with a lot of information we didn't get to discuss. But I've got to wrap up the show. I want to say goodbye to everybody. Sandi, thank you so much for coming in. First time in studio. It was awesome to have you here.
Thank you so much, Tina.
Mary, thank you very much for coming back. It's always a pleasure to be across from you.
Thank you. Love your show, and great to be part of it.
Thank you. Jeff? I'm
Thank you
going
so
right
much.
down the line. Thank you.
Thank you.
And Erik, thank you so much.
Tina, thank you as always.
And it is a great market for real estate, especially here in the Seattle market. I just encourage, if you're thinking that you might want to be a homeowner, you're thinking maybe you want to sell your home, just the beginning process, the first thing you need to do is you need to talk to an expert. And I have 4 of them in studio right here that are more than willing to help you. Please call into the show, 1-855-400-1150. Again, 1-855-400-1150, or online at themoneyhour.com. And that is it. This is your host and mortgage expert, Tina Mitchell, signing off for the day. I want to thank everyone for being here with me this weekend, and enjoy the rest of your weekend, and come back next weekend, same time, same place, right here on 1150 AM KKNW.
The preceding program is paid for by Absolute Mortgage, a division of Pinnacle Capital Mortgage Corporation. Absolute Mortgage Company, NMLS number 81395 and Washington CL number 81395, is an equal opportunity housing lender. Tina Mitchell, MLO number 145420, is a licensed loan originator with Absolute Mortgage. Visit absoluteloans.com or call 888-90-HOMES for cost information.